እንደምንማር እግዚአብሔር ያግዘን። አሜን።
In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. This is አባታችን አበያሉ አባታችን ጋሪሉ አባካናት ወንድሞች ዲያቆናት የተሰበሰባችሁ ምዕመናን ወጣቶች ልጆች እንደምን አደራችሁ? To the beautiful youth, how are you all doing today? Blessed day. Everybody good? So today's Timothy is going to be on the benefits of unity, the harms of separation, but more so the focus will be the benefits of unity. So, ትምህርቱ በእንግሊዝኛ እንደሚሆን ታውቃላችሁ፣ ግን ቢሆን እኔ የምናገረው መንፈስ ነው፣ በእግዚአብሔር መንፈስ ነው። ጆሮቻችሁን ከፍታችሁ የእኔ ቃል ሳይሆን የእግዚአብሔር ቃል እንዳስመስላችሁ አሰምታችሁ ተቀበሉ። To start, 1 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 10. Now I beseech you, brethren, by the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, that ye all speak the same thing, and that there be no divisions among you, but that ye be perfectly joined together in the same mind and in the same judgment. No divisions among you, perfectly joined, same mind, same judgment. We're all Christians. We're all in church right now, and we all believe in Christ. We follow God. We follow Christ. We are His disciples, and just like His disciples, we all need to stay together. When you see Jesus and His 12 disciples sitting down at the Last Supper, you see them all joined together, communicating, talking, embracing one another, right? You see happiness amongst them. And you see unity. You don't see separation. You don't see somebody straying away from the table. You see everybody sitting there together, talking, because Jesus brought them together. Through Christ is how they achieve unity. And we are also the same, because to be a disciple is not just one of those 12 that were sitting at the table at the Last Supper. You're all disciples. A disciple is somebody who's disciplined. A disciple of Christ means somebody that was disciplined in the virtue of Christ, in Christ's name. Colossians 3:13. They tell us, forbearing one another and forgiving one another. If any man have a quarrel against any, even as Christ forgave you, so also do ye. Now when we were born through our parents who have sinned way before us. Everybody knows the story of Adam and Eve. How Adam and Eve were perfect, and they were in the Garden of Eden with God. And He gave them a simple task. He said, don't do this. And they did it. Hawan, she ate from the apple. She ate the apple that was on the tree. So God said, you did what I didn't tell you to do, so therefore I will now denounce you from my Garden of Eden. So therefore holiness was taken away. But God didn't let that stick. What did He? He sent His Son Jesus Christ down to earth. He made Jesus Christ a part of us. And what did He do? When Jesus sacrificed Himself, we were all forgiven from the sins that Adam and Eve committed, correct? So when we're born, when we get baptized, we get cleansed from the sins that our parents committed. So forgiveness is the first step to achieving unity, not just with another, but with Christ. Like if somebody was to come up against you and say a mean word, and then you get sad, and then they apologize, you forgive them, and then your friendship is rekindled. Everybody's like happy, and everything is fine. Everything is perfectly fine. But sometimes when you're praying to God, when you're praying to Jesus Christ, how do you know that you're achieving that unity? When we pray, how do we know exactly that we're being forgiven? For one example, God, Jesus Christ, forgave others. That's Colossians said. So if we are to live our lives to achieve the holy sanctum, that which Jesus lives in now, that which He is in with God, heaven, basically, why is it so hard to forgive? So in 1 Corinthians, it says, let there be no divisions among you. That ye be perfectly united, that you have the same, mindsets, same judgment. But in this world, there are differences of opinions. everybody is not one and the same, really. Because what I look at through my eyes may not be what you view through yours. So difference of opinions lead to same judgments being, kind of trouble. Also, the different evils that are fed to our minds and our hearts. Nowadays, it's hard to really be perfectly united with somebody else because of what society is influencing us by. We look to our left, we look to our right, and we don't see perfection. We see something that's missing. We see something that's breaking apart. We can see the final judgment day coming because of how society is. But unity, more so than what you see in the outside world, really begins with you. It's what you see and what you hear isn't what you should take it to be, because it's what you perceive it to be. When you listen to something, do you hear it or do you just listen to it? There's a difference between hearing and listening. Like, you can hear me right now. You guys hear me talking, right? Yeah. But do you listen to me? Are you listening to me? Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So when you hear something, you have to know if it's something that you should listen to or if you should just hear it. Because if you hear it, it'll just go out of the other ear. But if you listen, it will go in and it will stay in your mind. It will circulate. It's going to be like a production line. It's going to stay in your mind. It's going to circulate, and you'll keep it. So every negative doesn't have to always just be negative. Every negative has a positive. There's a story of Joseph. He was merciful like Jesus Christ. Joseph was the youngest, and he had two brothers, and he had a son. He had a father. His father foretold of Joseph being a higher being than his brothers. So his brothers were jealous. They sold him off, and they sent him away. Joseph went through struggles. He went through he went through hard times. That's what happens when we get separated from where we belong. When we get separated, we don't know what to do. Unless somebody's guiding us, unless somebody is with us, unless we have God guiding us, unless we have a family member, a friend guiding us, we're going to be lost and we're going to struggle. So Joseph, he was sold. Joseph was lost. Joseph was struggling. Joseph met a king. Joseph was accused of committing adultery with the king's wife, and Joseph was banned and he was sent into jail. But Joseph never stopped praying. Joseph never stopped trying to achieve that unity with God. So through Joseph, we see that no matter how far away you may go, as long as you stick with God, there is no problem that you won't solve. Joseph, he kept praying to Jesus he kept praying to God while he was in the cell. And he started seeing visions. And the king was like, I need somebody to interpret my dream. So Joseph interpreted the king's dream. He became the overseer of the land. Basically, he was overseeing everybody in here, but on a massive scale. And then when he went back and his brothers needed help, he forgave them. We don't need to always carry hate, resentment, ice in our veins. Love is what triumphs over everything and anything. No matter how much wrong somebody has done to us, no matter how much wrong we've done to God, to Christ, He still forgives us because He loves us. And that's all love is about. Being able to forgive something or someone that has done you wrong, and not just having any hate or judgment inside of you when you give your love and your forgiveness. So everything that happens, take insight from it. What's bad could be good later on down the road. God has a plan for everything. Like what you see, what you plan for yourself may not be what God has planned for you. So water your roots with love and compassion. When you're strong, it's because your roots are strong. It's because you build yourself up from the ground up. We don't always start up there. We don't start from the top. We work our way up to the top. Why work down when you have to build yourself up? We're building ourselves up to heaven. That's our ultimate goal. But through separation, through cursing at somebody or telling somebody that they're wrong for this, and then getting into huge arguments, and then showing hate. Showing hate is not what's going to take us into heaven. You have to love. Because love is God. God is love. And so to find God, we have to find love. So those who trespass you, as Joseph's brothers trespassed him, should receive your forgiveness. You're nobody to judge somebody because of what wrong they've done to you. You look and you see, somebody did this to me, I should do this back. No. That's hate. That's resentment. That's, lashing out at somebody else and not really finding love in the right manner. Speaking of revenge, you guys know about Judah? Judah was one of Jesus' disciples. Judah betrayed Jesus. Judah basically led Jesus to his death on the cross. It was all planned. It was all planned. God had a plan for it. Jesus had a plan for it. Everybody saw it coming. Judah still did it, So what did God do? Did Jesus, say, Judah, I don't like you anymore. You're nobody to me. Jesus still forgave him. Forgiveness is key to move on. If you try to enter heaven with hate in you, you're not really going to experience God. You're not going to experience the true love that you can find when you enter the eternal gates of heaven. So, if Jesus was so willing to forgive somebody like Judah, somebody who led him to his death, somebody that led him to, the ultimate goal, why can't we, as human beings, as simple-minded beings, like Jesus, he was, he's God. He didn't have to come down here and sacrifice himself. He didn't have to go through everything he did for our sakes, but he still did it. You know why? Because he loves you all. Because he loves us. So if Jesus can do that, why can't we forgive somebody in our own community? Why can't we forgive somebody in our own church for somebody having a different opinion? Why can't we say, I see your point of view, but this is my point of view. Okay, let's find an agreement. Let's find the middle ground, and let's, if words get thrown out, let's forgive one another. Because I understand that you have a different mindset, and I have a different mindset. But through God is how we achieve unity. Through God is how we become like in mind and like in judgment. So what makes our unity perfect is a 3-letter word. It's one word. It's just God. With God, our unity with one another will be perfect. No matter how much you may have, no matter how much you may think differently from one another, as long as you believe in God, as long as you always pray to God, you will have that perfect unity. Psalms 133, verse 1. Behold, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. So, when you look around and you see your family, your friends, even when you look at you all, sitting like this, how happy do you feel that you all are, perfectly happy with one another? How happy do you feel knowing that you're at peace with one another? ይህን ካቴድራል ስናይ እንዴት ያምራል! ደግሞ እንዴት እንደተሰራ ሁላችን እናውቃለን። ስለተሰባሰብን እንደ ህብረታችን አብረን ስለያያዝን ነው። አለዚያ ይፈርስ ነበር እስካሁን ድረስ አይደል? አሁን it's not about the physicality of things. It's not about, how beautiful the church is. It's not about how beautiful the outside is. It's not about how nice the chairs is, how nice the carpets are. Because ገንዘብ ሁላችን ኪሳችንን ፈትሸን ማውጣት እንችላለን እና ለመስጠት እንችላለን። ግን ነገሩ ከልባችን ምን እንሰጣለን? ለእርስ ለራሳችን ከእግዚአብሔር ነው የምንሰጠው የእውነተኛ ፍቅር ነው ወይስ ልክ እንደ ገንዘብ እያወጣን ነው የምንሰጠው? አሁን what enters our hearts is so much more that we can bring into the church. Our hearts ourselves, we have to bring that to church with us. If we don't bring the hearts to church, then there's nothing. It's empty inside, basically. No matter how full it may be right now, as long as we don't have our true love and our true compassion, there is nothing in you. So, blessings, they come left and right. But we let our mind strip us away. Somebody could, one of the kids could get up and tell, one of the older people, hey, this is what I learned, this is how this is this right? But the older person may lash out and be like, no, who told you that? No, that's not it. Difference in opinions. Everybody has different views. But why do we have to lash out at one another? That creates separation. When you have somebody who's willing to learn more, and they approach somebody, and they ask a question. They want to know more, and they say, is this how it is? Or is this supposed to be the way it is? And then the other person lashes out, or they answer understandingly. Now, which one do you guys think is going to stick around? If somebody asks a question, and somebody yells at them, tells them, no, this isn't how you do it, you got to do it like this, do you think the person that asked the question is going to stick around? That person is probably going to leave. The person is probably going to be like, oh, he's yelling at me all the time. I don't want to deal with that. Now, let's say you go up to somebody and you ask them a question. They're like, okay, J-Boy, this is how it is. You know, you may have learned it like this, but this is what I know. Do your research. Figure out what's right and what's wrong. Now, when you do that, and when you hear somebody else tell you that, then you're going to stick around. There's nothing wrong with somebody telling you the difference in matters, but there's a problem when somebody yells it at you. You know. Basically, you get into argument. You know, an argument and a debate, two different things. An argument, you're yelling at each other. A debate, you're sitting around a table, you're talking, you know, this is my idea, this is your idea. Okay, let's find the middle ground. In a way, it's good. ለሰውነታችንም ጥሩ ነው። ክርክር መከራከር ጥሩ ነው። የኔ ሐሳብ እንደዚህ ነው፣ ያንተ ሐሳብ እንደዚህ ነው። አሁን ተወያይተን የት ብለን እንቆማለን ብለን እንጠያየቃለን። አሁን ግን ግጭት እራሳችን ነው የምንመጣው። አሁን እሱ ምን ያወጣል? ምንም የለም። ክርክርና ግጭት ከልባችን አይደለም፣ ከአእምሮአችን ከራሳችን ነው ብለን የምንጋጨው። ክርክር ግን ከልባችን ከጥሩ አስተዋይነት ነው። Main goal is just pray on it and let their love engulf you. You know, if somebody comes up to you and tells you this is what you should do, you know, take it, appeal to it, and then pray on it. And then when you pray on it, you will figure out the right answer. 1 John chapter 4 verse 11. No man hath seen God at any time. If we love one another, God dwelleth in us, and his love is perfected in us. No man hath seen God at any time. But if we love one another, God dwelleth in us, and his love is perfected in us. Unity with one another is what leads to unity with God, and a closer lifestyle that we all will be able to achieve in order to enter heaven. Matthew 5:45, he says, that ye may be the children of your Father which is in heaven. God is in heaven. We're down here. For he maketh his sun to rise on the evil. Okay? He maketh his sun to rise on the evil and on the good, and sendeth rain on the just and on the unjust. Together or separate, we all deal with the same things. ዝናቡ ለሁላችን ላይ ይወርዳል። አሁን ውጪ እየዘነበ ነው። ዝናቡ ለሁላችን ይወርዳል። ፀሐዩ ደግሞ በኋላ ሲወጣ ለሁላችን ነው የሚበራው። አይናችን ሲጨፍን ብቻ ነው የማይታይ። ለሁላችን ይደርሳል። አሁን መለያየት ምን ጥቅም አለ? ሁላችን የምናገኘው አንድ ከሆነ። So you're facing bad, you're facing good. So unity strengthens the good, separation weakens it. Unity weakens the bad, and separation strengthens it. If you don't unite with somebody else, if you're always just sticking by you, and you don't rely on God, then you're just going to face and endure the bad times all by yourself. Evil never triumphs. And when it tries to, good comes. Whenever something evil comes your way, and you can't handle it, you go to one of your friends and you say, this is how I'm feeling, I need help, I need advice, can you help me? And if you have a really good friend, they're going to say yes, and they're going to help you out, you know? Fake friends, anything like that, that's evil as well. So what you have to do is you have to find out where the genuinity lasts. Everything you take in from somebody, you always have to pray on it. Maybe it's wisdom. Like I said, blessings come left and right. But if you don't open your mind, and if you don't look at what somebody's saying with an open heart, then you won't really know if you're achieving, if you're getting those full blessings that they're giving you. So, we aren't as different as we think. Yeah, I look different from you all because I'm older or I have more facial hair. You know, like the ladies look different from